There's a couple of videos. One was a young kid who's like maybe a little bit shorter, and he's fighting this older kid who's which a little bit bigger. The video was just a regular fight, hands on hands and stuff like that type of deal. But I told the guys that in order to actually really survive this fight, you would have to go for the primary targets, right? You can't go hand to hand against a person who's bigger, faster, stronger, and all that other stuff. Obviously, a person like my weight versus a person like Mike Tyson in his prime, there's no absolutely way I'm going to win that fight unless I throw a chair at him and, you know, actually really hurt him. I always tell them, you always have to ask yourself, what is the goal here? Am I fighting this guy just to grow my ego? Or am I fighting this guy because he wants to take my head off or he wants to kill me or feel then if that's the case, then I'm not going to throw hands with him. I might just grab a weapon. And it's just one of those simple things. It's just, again, a lot of martial artists, a lot of people who take self-defense sometimes don't see the simplicity of getting out of that situation. They always think that, oh, we have to outmaneuver or out-grapple this type of person. I have no time for that, right? I can't stay in this particular hold too long. I can't outthink this guy. See, and that's what we work on in third level because that
Mhm.
everything that we worked in first and second level, you learn how to use the tools properly, and then second level you use the tools properly with movement. And then when you get used to the second level with movement with the tools, then third level is more of like from a neutral position. You're not in your stance anymore.
It's interesting you mention that because you know, there's a Krav Maga school here
Ah.
in Las Vegas, and they teach you weapons training. You know, like how to disarm a gun, how to disarm a knife, and everything. I was just looking at the videos online and stuff. Yeah.
Was it a couple months ago? I think it was a couple months ago. One of my students asked if there was weapons training in Jeet Kune Do. I'm like, yes. And then they were surprised because they were like, I never knew there was any type of weapons training in Jeet Kune Do. Like I don't see it on videos or YouTube. I'm like, it's one of those. They think that Jeet Kune Do is just a martial art. That's it.
Yeah.
Like no weapons whatsoever. Now, and they also forget the fact that Bruce Lee was a street fighter, right? In the streets of Hong Kong, he used chains, knives, pens,
Yep.
right? He was in a gang fight. And this was like when he was in high school. So you got to think like, well, Bruce had that street fighting mentality, not a martial artist mentality, a street fighting mentality. Now, again, once you put that street fighting mentality and that martial artist skill together, you're going to be a dangerous person,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Right? Because
Yeah.
the street fighting mentality, there's no limits. There's no limits. There's no rules for that fighting mentality. Martial arts, yes, because you follow tradition. That's going to limit you. You follow their forms. That's going to be another limitation, right? That's why Bruce was against forms later on, later on. But then you also have to realize too that even though Bruce was skilled, his fighting ability in the street was something else. And that's what we work upon. We work upon fighting in the street, fighting for self-defense. The mentality of Jeet Kune Do, of what people see these days, is just mixed martial arts. And for me, it's really getting tiring because I would always have to explain it, which I really don't mind. Is just like, it's been 50 years that this
Yeah.
type of explanation or
But
this
hey,
type of teaching
Bruce
is,
Lee sells, man.
well, but that's the thing. Bruce Lee sells.
Yeah.
But that's the problem is Bruce Lee sells, but they don't know what Jeet Kune Do is.
No, and then many times I go to, a glimpse and watch an MMA fight and say, "Oh, Bruce Lee's the father of MMA." So,
Well, again,
yeah,
that's just something that's out of ignorance.
it is out of ignorance. Yeah,
Bruce
but
Lee,
the problem there is, the Jeet Kune Do Foundation doesn't say squat about it. They just kind of allow
well,
things to go and permeate.
apparently Jeet Kune Do doesn't sell. Bruce Lee as a martial artist, it sells. right? So when I tell people that I do Jeet Kune Do, certain people, they're like, what's that? But if I say karate, oh, I know what karate is.
Yeah.
So Jeet Kune Do is not a household name. Even for 50 years, it's not really a household name. Only among martial artists. Only among
Right.
martial artists. If you're a non-martial artist, you don't know what Jeet Kune Do is. However, if you tell a non-martial artist what karate is, they automatically recognize that word. Now, these days, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then, unfortunately, in the martial arts community, they think it's mixed martial arts because of what was said by certain individuals in the wake of Bruce Lee's passing. Things started to change right after that. And
Right.
be a
Right.
lot of people saying that, oh, what changed? Thinking that whatever Jeet Kune Do is now is what it was what once was or was always been since the beginning. But then if that's the case, then why are there two factions? Why is there an original and why is there concepts? And now they're saying, Jerry, that there was never concepts. Dan
Oh boy.
Inosanto was
Yeah.
actually really teaching original Jeet Kune Do.
That even makes it more confusing, doesn't
Well,
it?
that exactly, Jerry. That's what I've been
Mhm.
saying. I'm like, okay, so even if that's the case, and with this confusion going on, wouldn't you think that since Dan Inosanto is the leading expert in Jeet Kune Do, allegedly, wouldn't you think that he would make some sort of statement like, hey, listen, this is it. This is what Jeet Kune Do is. This
Yeah.
is what blah, 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 blah. And we're standing by it because this is allegedly, well, this is what Bruce Lee taught me. And if that is it, okay, from that point on, that's where it's going to go. Okay.
How is Daniel Santo? Have you heard anything? Is he? I know he's up there in his 80s now,
Well,
isn't he?
I think he's almost into his 90s, if not already in his
Wow.
90s. I have
Yeah, but
another.
still older than Bruce Lee.
No, I
I
think
think.
no. Is he? He could be. He could be. He could be. Well, Bruce
Yeah.
was
So I
born in
wonder if his
1940.
faculties are still there. You know.
You know what? Let's check. So Dan Inosanto.
By the way, I do like your JKD wall.
Oh, this? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I started to put this up together because I did a Instagram live uh a month ago, and I was like, well, I didn't want to do have a clear background.
Sure. Sure.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put all this here together because right right now I'm in my dining room. So and this is where I teach you the Jeet Kune Do.
Right.
So I removed my dining room table. I ordered this computer desk right here. I
Oh,
asked,
nice.
I said, yeah, I said, actually, let me I'll put it in the corner. So it's like my corner office, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This right here, yeah, well, this right here is my Jeet Kune Do wall, stuff like that. And pictures of my family. And over here is my drawings that my niece gave to me, stuff like that. And then if you notice this yellow picture right here, if you notice, I made that for my teacher. So it's a picture of Bruce Lee, Ted Wong, and my teacher, Richard
The
Torres.
lineage. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
see the lineage there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This one right here is actually a friend of mine. He's a this one right here. He's a Wing Chun instructor, very famous Wing Chun instructor. He gave that to me for like, to be, to being like for brotherhood type of deal. Like that. So,
Sure. Sure.
and then
Yeah.
this is a portrait of me, my teacher, that my teacher gave me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was
So
that based on an actual picture and was just done
yeah,
via
yeah, yep.
pencil?
It was, yeah,
That's nice.
based on an actual picture. Yeah. So this is actually a picture of one of the pictures of my teacher. My teacher's coming out with a book, a Jeet
Oh,
Kune Do book.
cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping he said, when is Sifu Richard Torres going to come have with a
It's
seminar?
he,
Yeah,
I at times I push him to do it because there's a lot of there's a lot of delays and a lot of distractions. And I say, hey, Sifu, where's the book? But we took like a lot of pictures. I mean, like tons and tons and tons of pictures. Me, my teachers, students, everything. So we had I even this picture was actually taken at my teacher's
right.
house. He had like a white background, and then we were just taking like professional pictures. And He felt that this picture or the pictures that we took, he wants to have it in drawing, like an illustration.
Nice,
So that's why,
nice.
yeah, that's why this is the illustration, one of the illustrations that's going to be in the book. So
So
basically,
who's gonna write this forward? Shannon?
he wants Shannon to do it, but most likely Linda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so on my teacher's 30th anniversary of the school last year, Linda Lee Cadwell sent my teacher
Wow.
a letter of congratulating him. He sent me the letter. I read it.
But it's interesting how everything's evolving, and as all these the original pillars, if you want to call it that, of Jeet Kune Do, as they're all passing into the other side. And I know that Dan Inosanto, he must. I don't know if his faculties are still there because he's in his 90s, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I have actually, I was going to mention that to you. I have another online student. He's from Texas. He mentioned to me that he was going to go to a Dan Inosanto seminar. I'm like, oh, really? That's
Mm.
cool. And then he asked me, he's like, do you mind? I'm like, no, just let me know that you're going because if I know, then you're going to have to represent the school. He's like, yeah, of course. He goes to the seminar, and then the next time we saw each other for training, I was like, so how's the seminar? He's like, oh, he didn't teach Jeet Kune Do. I'm like, really?
What?
I was like, that's strange. Like, yeah, I was like,
Filipino boxing,
I
maybe.
think this is his exact words, but he said he doesn't teach Jeet Kune Do anymore.
Mm.
So in my head, I'm like, well, let's say he hasn't been teaching Jeet Kune Do. The knowledge of what Bruce taught him, and if he's not teaching it,
It's all going to go get
it's
lost
going to
in
fade
time.
away. So if you're not constantly teaching and you're not constantly training in that realm of Jeet Kune Do or Jeet Kune Do itself, you're going to forget a few things. There's a funny thing too. I was on Instagram and there was this guy. He was critiquing a fight, like an actual a fight after a BJJ competition. I said in the BJJ competition, these two started to like push each other and they started to hit each other like a real fight. Because something, I guess something happened. One of them got mad and they're starting to hit each other. And the guy critiquing it is like, isn't it funny that you see these guys picking a fight with each other and they're throwing hands? Wouldn't you think
Mm.
they should be grappling? And that's the deal. That's something you got to think about. Why are they hitting? Why aren't they grappling that when they're supposed to be grappling? You know,
Right, right.
that's a real fight. In a real fight, you don't get on the floor on your butt and then start to, okay, come over and then we're going to start the grapple. No, that's a real fight.
Yeah. But I
Or,
did have a question for you, Sifu.
sure.
So let's say my garage is open and somebody comes in and then threatens me in my garage.
Uh,
What would you do? What would be the proper JKD response? In other words, I don't know if I'm doing it right. If somebody comes to me and threatens me in my garage, I'll probably start punching the guy, kicking him. Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
that's it. Now, what
That's
about if
it.
you start doing it from the street, from the sidewalk? Sidewalk's a public place.
Does he stay there?
He stays there and then he does this. And then I'm just
Close the
it's
garage.
situational. Yeah.
Close the garage door.
Right. I'll just close the garage door. So I wouldn't pound I shouldn't pounce him.
Once he enters your property,
My
that's
property.
that's it.
That's
It's
it.
yeah, you don't you enter my property without my permission. Now I'm giving myself permission to kick your ass.
Yeah. There you
Right.
go.
But
That's what I was wondering about that though.
if he's talking shit on your sidewalk and he's
Right.
not doing anything, he's talking all this, close the garage door. That's it.
Right. I'll tell you why, because there was a this was an old case last year.
Ah,
There's this Filipino guy who lives in Las Vegas,
right,
and he would have his friends in the garage. You know how it is. They would sit down, they would drink in the garage, and finally one of the neighbors came and went inside and started threatening him.
right.
And I said, he didn't do squat about it. So, long story short, he did it a few times. And I said to myself, boy, if he had done that even once in my garage, I would have acted on it. And then basically there's like a lawsuit happening now between them. I said, to me, that's assault. The moment you come into my garage and threaten me,
Yeah.
that's assault.
That
Yeah.
that that's trespassing too.
Yeah, yeah, and trespassing, right?
Assault and trespassing.
Yeah.
Once his foot starts getting into your garage, that's it. If you tell him
Right.
leave, get out. If he does it, okay. I told you once. I'm gonna tell you the second time. No?
Yeah.
Now again, I'm giving myself the permission to kick your ass. But
If there is an weapon, let's say a pipe next
uh-huh.
to me, and I would, if I were to use that, after he threatens me in my garage, how would that look like to the law?
Well, equal force, right? If he has a
Okay.
weapon, then you use the pipe. If he doesn't have a weapon and he's trying to throw hands with you, then you have to do it equally. That's a good thing. That's
So it can't exceed the amount, the threat level. That
correct.
yeah,
That's correct. That's correct. Not good thing that you brought up the law because a lot of people with some martial artists, I see demonstrations where they put the guy down and they stomped in this guy's head. Why?
yeah,
Unless he's getting up with a gun, okay, then you do it. However, if this guy's down, no weapons, and that's it. Don't stomp in this guy's head. You're gonna kill him. That's it. Boy, in
yeah.
Jersey, if you stomp in this guy's head with no reason, he's already down, you're gonna jail, man.
Oh, by the way, I ran across your latest JKD video.
Oh, is it the IG video?
Is that the one that yeah, you were there and you're dedicating it to the guy that passed on in memory of
Oh, you mean my commercial?
your commercial?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have my friend Brandon. He and that video is like 3 years ago.
Oh, it's funny. I just ran into it the other day. I said, "Oh, I haven't seen this before." Yeah.
Oh, there's a video. I have a online JKD commercial, and you're in it. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, you know what? When I do interview people online for online JKD, I always mention you. I was like, yeah, that I've been like I told him I first met him face to face. He trained with me in Paramus, and then COVID came, and then I mentioned, you heard about the online JKD, and then 2020 and on, he's been my student for almost 5 years. Now it's 5
Yeah.
years. So
Wow.
and
It's
that gives
almost 5 years, hasn't it
it
been?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives people like, oh shoot, he's been doing it for 5 years. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
5 years, and that's
It's
dedication.
consistency, consistency.
It is consistent. And look now you're in third level.
Yeah. I always feel like the more I learn, the more I don't know.
Well, it's actually you could say that you're unlearning from the things
Yeah, that's right.
you're unlearning the bad habits that
The bad habits.
fortunately that you had for before you met.
Fine. Yeah, actually to enjoy these lessons because it's kind of like you need to have principle behind all the art, right? You need to have focus and principle and
Oh yeah.
direction.
I mean I mean again,
What's
like
it
that's
called?
why I have
Religion behind the art.
right. That's why I have these Zoom classes for
Yeah,
the Tao Jeet Kune Do classes because you could do the physical so many times, but then you have to also work the mental. There are times I go through YouTube and watch all these street fighting videos, even though it's redundant, I have to be exposed to it. You can't be in an imaginary world thinking that, oh, I'm learning Jeet Kune Do and I could beat up anybody because I'm learning this, I'm learning that. But then when you see these videos, I'm like, okay, that kind of humbles you to the point where like, all right, so if I'm in this situation, what would I do? Right?
exactly. And a lot
Yeah,
of that, I go through my mental mind, and this is what you're going to do if you're in this situation.
yeah.
You're on the
So
plane,
that
the guy gets aggressive. What are you going to do?
right,
Things of that
right. So that's
nature.
why
Yeah.
when you said about the garage situation, you always
Yes.
you always have to think about the most simple thing. If he comes step into inside my garage, okay, number one, he's trespassing. Number two, he's being aggressive. And number three, he's going to assault me, which I know he will because since he walked in and if he starts doing this, all right, here we go. This is an assault.
It's funny when I was a kid, there are many situations where I got bullied. And my mother, being a mother, she would say, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't get into a fight, avoid this." And then when I look back and I said, "Man, I should have hit that guy."
Well, you
You
know
know?
what? The choices that you make in the
Yeah,
past
and I was like
is
maybe
why
9, 10
you're
years
here
old,
now.
and you get, and then now when I look back and what stuff that I learned from you, I said I should have hit that guy. You
Well,
know?
for me, like I was picked on by a gang member in
Oh
high
my gosh, yeah.
yeah. And there's one of those things like if I did something, I would have got shot.
Right. So Sifu, it's 3:17. I know it's past our time, but
Okay.
thank you for educating me.
Oh, It's more of like a conversation, man. So,
It
don't.
is. Well, everything I learned from you, I internalize. So I told you it's a lifetime process, man.
Hey, it's a lifetime process, just even making
Yeah.
sure that you guys are also learning from what I'm
Yeah.
doing, because
Yeah.
sometimes,
I just
you know,
wish you put up a brick and mortar school here. You know.
I can put a brick and mortar school here in Jersey. Renting the hall is okay, but then I like to have my own place and have my own hours. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Sifu. I'll
Okay.
see you next week.